Raised my entitled sister's 3 kids when she abandoned them. Years later, they're giving me money to thank me, but she's furious and demanding the money. Hello, I am 48F, and I have a younger sister, Diana, 46F. Diana never really got along well when we were kids. She was always too pretentious and kind of mean to me, and so, parted ways as soon as we had high school. I chose to go to that. She decided to move in with her boyfriend at the time. It's a good thing that her boyfriend was rich, since our parents would never have been able to afford the rent to let her live on her own. But she had made it very clear to our parents that she had no interest in knowing their opinions on her life and was going to do whatever she wanted. So my parents never tried to stop her either and just let her run free. She had twin girls at 20 and then a boy at 21 while she was living with her boyfriend, and my parents were happy for her, but at the same time, it was kind of concerning because now, she had a lot of responsibilities and no job. She was completely and fully reliant on her boyfriend, money, and maintaining her lifestyle. Diana never got married to her boyfriend, and I think it was a bad move because at least then, she would have been entitled to alimony after they broke up. They had to go separate ways after Diana found out that he had been cheating on her. Thankfully, he did give her child support that she was entitled to. However, he chose to opt out of being a father and signed away his parental rights. The girls were both 3 years old at the time, so they were really young, and my nephew was just 2 years old. After that, my sister was completely on her own and she needed to get all the help that she could to be able to support herself. Now, I did not have a good relationship with her, but because of my parents, I decided to help her out. At the time I earned a decent amount of money. It was not enough to support all 4 of them, but I could at least contribute a small amount of money every month, along with my parents, and they got by the first few months. It was really difficult to find her since she did not have a degree and had no experience either. She had to start at the bottom and work her way up, which would require her to devote quite a lot of time to her jobs if she wanted to make progress quickly, but that would be difficult because she had to think about her children as well and she couldn't just leave them at home. She could hire a babysitter, but that was pretty expensive, so she had to rely on me, or on her friends. Our parents were also working, they were contributing to her as well, so they couldn't stay home, and it was the same for me. She didn't have any friends either, who would be okay with watching her kids while she was away at work. Since all of them had their own lives and jobs, none of them took such a responsibility. So, she was kind of stuck in minimum wage jobs so she could adjust her hours accordingly and come back home quickly, so she wouldn't have to pay the babysitter to stay with her kids for too long, because then, the cost of that would be exorbitant, and she would not be able to afford it. This went on for a couple of years, and I guess Diana started resenting her own children. Because they were standing in the way of her success, and according to her, they were the only factors holding her back. I would visit her occasionally, not for her sake, but for the children's sake, because I wanted to make sure that they were doing all right. I did not have a good relationship with her, but I was not heartless enough to let a bunch of innocent kids suffer the consequences of their mother's terrible decisions. So my parents and I would regularly check up on the children, and they would always be complaining about how badly Diana was treating them. She would scold them for little things and lash out at them just being kids and trying to have fun. It was just a miserable existence for all of them, and I wished that I could help them and pull them out of that house and keep them with me, but I couldn't do that, since she was the rightful parent and I had right over them. Besides, she was getting child support from her ex and was doing her best to make ends meet. I kind of felt bad for her as well, but I felt worse for the children. However, things were pretty bad because, after that, she started seeing other men as well. And every time a relationship would not work out, she would start blaming her kids for it. Apparently, in her head, she believed that her boyfriend would always break up with her once they found out that she was the mother to 3 kids. I personally think it was because she would never say anything about it on the first couple of dates, and she would just bring it down with them after they had been together for a month or 2. And I think that's a really long time to keep a secret like that. When you are a single mother, I think you need to be upfront about it. Otherwise, it just seems dishonest and kind of weird. And I tried to explain that to her many times, but she was really convinced that she was getting broken up with only because of the fact that she had children. And she would keep tormenting them about it, reminding them again and again how their father had abandoned her, and she would keep threatening to leave them behind as well if they did not behave themselves, so they were really scared of her, and the childhood was constantly just full of their mother's narcissism. This went on for literally years, I'm not even kidding. Several times, it occurred to me that I should probably just take them and run with it. But I couldn't do that, and neither could I file for custody of the kids or try to report her, because what she was doing, while it was bad, didn't exactly amount to something that could justify having her kids taken away from her. So this just kept going on, and they were just thankful that they had me by their side, because my parents were too old to be there for them as friends, but I was always there for them, whenever they needed it. They could never go to their mother with their problems, and they could always come to their aunt, and that's what they did. Anytime they would have any sort of issues with people at school or academics or even Diana, they would come straight to me. And I really liked it. It felt like they trusted me, and I valued that.